So let's get started with a couple of full body stretches. We're going to start off with our sun salutations. So just following along through these. Nice deep breath in, reaching up tall. And as you breathe out, coming down towards your toes. Letting your upper body flop and hang down, chin to your chest, relaxing out through your lower back. Then popping your hands on the ground, stepping your left foot back into a lunge. Standing up in that lunge, opening up through the chest, slight little tuck under through the upper body as well to open up through the front of your hip. Squeeze your shoulder blades together at the back. Then bringing your hands to the ground, stepping back into down dog. So chin to chest, pushing everything backwards, heels towards the ground as we get that nice stretch out through the back of the body. Then bringing those hips forward. You can rest them on the ground as we gently arch through the back and look up for up dog. Just taking this as far as you're comfortable going. Then squeezing through the tummy, lifting those hips back up to down dog, chin to chest. Push it all backwards. Stepping your left foot up in between your hands into that lunge on the other side. Leaning back, opening up through the chest. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, getting that little stretch through the back leg, front hip. Then hands to the ground, stepping forward to your forward bend, letting that upper body relax downwards, chin to chest. And then slowly coming up, rolling out the shoulders. All right, we're going to go through that one more time. So nice deep breath in, reaching up tall, and breathing out, coming down towards the toes. Trying to get down that little bit further than we did last time, really relaxing on your breath out. Popping your hands on the ground, stepping that left foot back into the lunge. Standing up in your lunge, opening up through the chest, leaning back so we get that stretch in the front of the hip. Popping your hands down on the ground, stepping back to down dog, chin to chest, heels towards the ground, getting that nice stretch through the back of the body. Then bringing those hips forward into up dog, gently arching through. You can rest your hips on the ground if you need to. Squeezing in through that tummy as you lift your hips back up again. Back into down dog, chin to chest. Stepping your left foot forward, up into that lunge. Opening up through the chest, squeezing your shoulder blades together as we slightly lean back. Then hands to the ground, coming up to forward bend. Keeping your chin tucked into your chest. And then slowly coming up, rolling out the shoulders. Alrighty, so for our next part we'll need our dining room chair. So just grabbing that chair, bringing it over. The first stretch we're going to do is just for our hamstrings on the back of our legs. You're going to put one foot up on your chair, reaching down towards your toes with both hands, tucking your chin towards your chest so we get that stretch through the back as well, really lengthening out through that back of the body. I want you to be pulling your toes towards you as opposed to pointing them. Pull them towards you so we really get that length through the back of the leg. And with each breath out, I want you to creep down that little bit further towards those toes. As we breathe out, that's when our body relaxes. That's when we can increase our stretch. So with each breath out, just creeping it down that little bit more as our muscles relax and lengthen. All right, coming up, let's change legs. So foot up on the chair. Reaching down towards the toes with both hands, tucking chin into the chest, pulling those toes towards you, and nice deep breathing, increasing our stretch with the breath out. coming up, grabbing onto the back of your chair, so having the seat in the middle, grabbing onto the back. Chin to chest as we lean back, arms nice and straight, and legs nice and straight as well as we stick that bum out. Tucking chin into chest again, and gently try to press your chest towards the ground. Once we're here, you can just gently sway from side to side, rocking from hip to hip, just to feel that increase of stretch through the one side as you lean that way. Nice deep breathing. If you find yourself a really tight spot, you can hold that spot. Otherwise, just keep swaying for that general broad stretch. Alright, and then coming up. Our next one's going to be for our hip flexors on the front of our hips. We're going to put our foot on our chair behind us and come into a bit of a lunge position. So we're going to tuck our tailbone under, slightly lean back so we can really open up through the front of the hip, and hopefully you can feel that stretch there. If your knees are up for it, we can intensify this one by coming right down to the ground into a kneeling position, and then keeping that pelvis tucked, slight lean back. Really open up through the front of the hip. The lower you can come, the better it is. Or the more intense your stretch is, I should say. But really important to stretch out through the front of our hips here, especially if you sit down for long periods of time throughout the day. These little guys can get pretty short and pretty tight and angry when in a seated position, and it can contribute to lower back pain as well. All right, let's change to the other side. So popping our other leg up on the chair, coming into that lunging position, tuck the tailbone under so we open up through the front of the hip, dropping it as low as you're capable, all the way down to the knee if you can. And release. Alright, I'm going to show you an abdominal exercise that you can do on your chair. So take a seat with the back of your chair to one side so that it doesn't get in our way. You can hold on to the back of the chair if you need to, but we're going to come up into a V-sit position, so leaning on our tailbone, feet up off the ground. And I want you to really think about activating your core here, sucking your belly button in towards the spine to hold it. Hands free if you can, or holding on if you need to, as we extend out one leg and bring it back. Extend and bring it back. Alternating each leg. But the importance of working our core is making sure we're nice and strong through here, which will support our lower back when we try to do our day-to-day activities. Making sure we're nice and strong. Keeping with single legs if you need to, but if you can, going for double leg. That slight lean back as you straighten out the legs to help keep your balance. 3, 2, and 1. All right, rest. Turning, sitting normally in your chair now, hands just on your thighs. We'll do our happy cat and angry cat. So angry cat, we're rounding forward, chin to chest, flexing forward through that mid-back. And then happy cat, arching out the other way, pushing the chest up, looking up. Squeeze the shoulder blades together at the back to really get that movement and mobility through the spine. We're going to alternate between these two. Angry cat, hunch it forward. And happy cat, extending out. Trying to get as much range through your spine as you can. Let's do one more of each. Angry cat, rounding those shoulders forward. Chin right to your chest. And happy cat, extending out. Squeeze those shoulder blades together, push the chest up. And then relax. With a nice relaxed spine, we're going to reach all the way down towards our toes. You might like to spread your knees a little bit so that the body can fit down towards the ground, reaching down as far as you're comfortable, letting your head fall into a nice relaxed position, opening up through the lower back. Now while you're here, you might like to play with your angles. You might like to lean towards one foot or the other foot, or stay in the middle. It's completely up to you. Just feel around of where your tight spots are and hold that point of the stretch. Really letting that upper body relax down, especially as you breathe out. We come and flop forward, reaching down as far as you can. And then slowly coming up. We're going to reach around towards the side of our chair, grabbing onto the back, twisting ourselves around, eyes looking where we want to go as we rotate through the spine. Trying to keep our knees and hips facing forward so it's just that spine rotating, and then coming around to the other side. Really grab onto the back of your chair to help pull yourself around that bit further, eyes looking towards where you want to go. Let's do one more of each, trying to come that little bit further around with each time we go. And last one. All right, and release. Now we're going to just do our inner thighs, so I'll just turn to face you so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to open up the legs nice and wide, toes facing outwards so we can help hold our knees out. We're going to get that stretch through the inner thigh and groin area here. Then while we're doing that, we'll stretch out our forearms. So palm facing towards the ground, bring those fingers down, and then use your other hand to pull them further towards you. So we're getting that lengthening and stretching through the top of our forearm there, our forearm extensors. And these little guys are very overly used when we're typing on a keyboard, so especially if you've got a seated or desk job, these guys get used quite a lot. That's a good one to give them a stretch out, especially if you've got an RSI issue like tennis elbow. This is the stretch for you. Let's do the other hand, so palm down, fingers down, pulling towards you. Making sure we're staying nice and open through those knees so we get our inner thigh stretch the whole time. We're multitasking here. That's what life is now, is working out how we can save time and do multiple things at once. Alright, and then let's do our forearm flexes, so turning palm facing outwards and fingers down that way so we get the inside of our forearms. You might also like just to bring it down and pop your fingertips on the edge of your chair. Can help bring a bit of length through here. But these forearm flexes, these are who are in charge of our grip strength. So if you have any grip or holding issues, then you may like to stretch these ones out. Also involved in golfer's elbow and carpal tunnel. So this stretch can help with all of those issues. Let's do the other hand, so palm facing outwards, pulling those fingers down. Just using your other hand, or you can bring it down onto your chair to let the chair do the work for you. Hopefully we're still keeping those knees out and sitting up nice and straight and tall. It's all about good posture. Trying to minimize our postural pain by keeping good posture. Alrighty, and release. Interlocking your fingers, pushing them out and away to get a stretch through the palm and the fingers, and as you do that, coming up to standing. Alright, we'll pop our chairs out the way and grab our broomsticks instead. Onto our next piece of equipment. So I'll get you to hold your broomstick nice and wide on either end, and we're just going to loosely hold it as we take it behind our back and forward again. If you can't get all the way down, that's okay. Just take it as far as you comfortably can go. We never want to force this one. It can dislocate your shoulder if you push it too hard. So just gently taking it back and forward again. Get that range of movement happening through the shoulders. If you're finding it easy, you can narrow that grip a little bit We'll make it that little bit harder. You'll feel a bit more of a stretch through that joint as we take our arms back. Alright, then I want you to hold just a little bit wider than your body and just lifting it up. You certainly won't be able to go as far. Just take it up as far as you can, feeling that stretch out through the armpits and our chest area, and then release. Okay, so taking it up, really opening up through the front of the body, and release. Let's do one more. Really squeeze, open up through the front of those shoulders, and release. All right, and the other one we're going to do with our broomstick is we're going to bring it behind our back, holding it with our bottom hand. With our top hand, we're going to grab up the top and gently pull upwards to raise up that lower hand, and then release. So holding it for a couple of seconds to raise up and then release. If you can do this one without the pole, if you can reach your hands together at the back, go for that. Otherwise, using the pole as an assist, you should feel a bit of a stretch going through the front of your bottom shoulder. Take it up and down. All right, let's go for the other side. So swapping those hands over, one at the bottom, one at the top, and pulling that bottom hand upwards with your pole, or just holding the position if you can reach your hands together. Just gently pull it up where you can feel that stretch, hold it, and then release. Trying to come that little bit more each time, increasing that stretch. Alright, and release. Popping your broomsticks away. We're going to do just one more type of core exercise now, but I just want you to have a look and a quick practice while we're standing. It's all about the way we move our pelvis. So I want you to tilt your pelvis to arch your lower back, and then tilt your pelvis to flatten your lower back. Just practicing that move. The only thing moving is your pelvis as we tilt to arch and tilt to flatten, okay? So that's the movement that we're going to be doing when we're laying on the ground. So coming down, laying on your back with your feet flat and your knees bent. And we're going to do that exact same movement on the ground. So you might like to pop your hands underneath your lower back so that you can feel what's happening. You're going to tilt your pelvis to flatten your lower back, pressing it into the ground, and then tilt to arch away. And you should be able to feel a nice gap for your hands to go in. So tilt to flatten and tilt to arch. Now what I want you to think about is while we are flattening, I want you to squeeze your belly button in towards your spine and then release as you arch. So we're sucking inwards as we press the lower back into the floor and relax. So what we're doing here is we're activating what's called our transverse abdominis, which is the abdominal muscles that go sideways across your tummy. And the transverse abdominis is the main one that supports your lower back. So we're activating that one. Another way you can think about it is like you're wearing a really tight belt and you've got to suck inwards to keep that belt in the spot, and then you can release it as you arch. So sucking in, hold, flatten the lower back, and arch. Alright, now what I want you to do next is we're going to keep that lower back flat. There should be no space for you to put your hands underneath. Popping your hands on your tummy, and we're sucking inwards. So we shouldn't, when we do this movement, I don't want you to feel any movement in your tummy. That's what we're feeling for. You're going to just lift one leg up to tabletop and then come back down again. And then the other leg. So as we do this, we're feeling for no movement on our tummy. We want to be activating that transverse abdominis, sucking everything in as we lift up one leg at a time. So this is level 1, this is nice and basic, and hopefully you don't struggle with this one as we just lift the leg and pop it back down again. You can stick with this one if you need to, but level 2 is we lift for one leg, then go for the second, and then down, and then down. Alternating which leg you lift first, one at a time. So what might happen is as you lift your second leg, you might feel a bit of bulging or pushing out through your tummy. What that is that's your rectus abdominis, your six-pack muscles, trying to take over and do some of that movement. We want to cut them out. We want to focus on that transverse abdominis. So you really need to focus on that sucking inwards before you lift that second leg so that you don't feel any movement through your tummy. We're not bulging out. We're nice and activated and strong through our core. So if you're all right with that one, we can move on to level 3, which is staying up in our tabletop and then extending one leg out straight and bringing it back again. Still keeping hands on the tummy because we don't want to feel any of that bulging. We're keeping nice and controlled as we extend our one leg at a time. Keeping that lower back glued to the floor, suck the tummy in. And the lower you take your leg, the more intense or the more you're going to be working those abdominal muscles. So just take it as low as you can go without your tummy bulging upwards. Alright, so that one's level 3. You can stay here if you need to, or you can move on to level 4, which is of course our double leg. So both legs at the same time doing that extension, keeping your lower back flat on the floor. Do not let it start to arch, sucking that belly button in towards the spine. Holding everything strong as we extend out. The lower you go, the harder it will be. Let's do 2 more. And rest, hugging your knees in towards your chest and rocking from side to side. So these core exercises that we've done today, this is just an example to show you of some simple strengthening things you can do. What we've done today is not quite enough to call it a workout, but it's certainly a step in the right direction. But the more often you can do them, the better your core will be. Rocking backwards and forwards along the spine, all the way from tailbone up to shoulders. Getting that nice massage out through the spine. Once you've got enough momentum, sitting up. Coming up to your knees, we're just going to stretch out our hip flexors one more time by bringing one leg forward, tucking the tailbone under, and slightly leaning back to open up through the hip flexors. So what can happen when we do core exercises like that where we're using our legs, the hip flexors can try and take over, especially if they're already tight. So it's just good to give them a stretch out before and after you do your core exercises. We can intensify here by leaning towards our forward leg, really opening up through the front of the hip. Increasing your stretch by gently pressing forward with each breath out. Alright, and release, going for the other side. Tucking that tailbone under, slightly leaning back, and up and over. So ideally when we hold a stretch, we do want to hold it for as long as possible, with 30 seconds as a good minimum number. Our muscles are pretty stubborn and they can take a while to start to let go. So we are going a little bit quicker today just to allow for getting the whole body done in our half-hour session. But if you do these throughout the day, which I highly encourage, try and hold them for as long as you can. 30 seconds up to a minute is fantastic. Alrighty, we're going to come into a seated position on the ground. We're going to continue stretching out through the front of our shoulders by bringing your hands behind your back, fingers facing away from your body. Now the goal with this stretch is to bring your pinky fingers as close together as you can and then shuffle your bum away from your hands. You'll feel this start to stretch through the front of your shoulders. I want you to really focus on trying to press your chest out, looking up to allow that stretch to happen, that opening up to happen through the front of our shoulders. So often we fall into that hunching forward posture, leaning forward. Everything we do is out in front of our body. We always hunch forward. And the problem is we tighten up in that position and stay there, which then creates a lot of tension through our upper back and shoulders. So the more we can stretch out through the front, it allows our shoulders to come back and we sit up, they'll stand up a lot straighter and minimize some of that upper back pain. Stretching out the front of the shoulders is very important for our posture. Alright, releasing that one, coming down, laying on your back. On both hands straight out to the side like you're laying on a cross and straightening out your legs. You're going to bring one knee and foot across the body, trying to press that knee and the opposite shoulder down towards the ground. So we get a nice rotating stretch out through our spine. Looking away from your knee to intensify that stretch a little bit. You should feel this one through your lower back, around your hip or glute area, and then you can also feel it in your chest of that shoulder you're trying to keep close to the ground. Remembering to increase as you breathe out, so just pulling on that knee that little bit further, really trying to keep that shoulder down, increasing that rotation as you breathe out and relax. Then let's change over to the other side, so taking the other knee across the body, trying to press that knee and shoulder towards the ground. Nice deep breathing as we relax into the stretch, rotating that little bit more with each breath out. Opening up through the lower back, the pelvis, the chest, the works. Alright, and release. We are going to finish up with a couple of minutes of relaxation today, so you can just stay laying in this position, or you might like to pop your feet straight up a wall and relax here. Your other option, which I'm going to do today, is you can grab a foam roller, a nice long one, and lay on that. Whichever position you choose to lay in, making sure you're nice and comfortable, your spine is straight, and I want you to open your arms out to the side so that we allow our shoulders to fall back, continuing that gentle stretch through the front of our shoulders. Now we're going to spend these last couple of minutes focusing on our breathing to help our body relax and let go of any residual tension in our muscles. So I'd like you to close your eyes, trying to take away all distractions and bringing your attention to your breathing. So nice and slowly in through your nose, all the way down to your belly as you feel it rise, and gently out through your mouth. We're going to breathe in for the count of 4 and breathe out for the count of 4. Nice and slow, nice and controlled. And like I mentioned earlier, as we breathe out, that's our body's natural time to relax. So with each breath out, I want you to think about relaxing all that furthermore. Letting your muscles, your joints drop, melting into the floor. We're going to start down with our feet. I want you to think about your toes, your ankles, your arches. Let them relax. There's no pressure on your feet right now. We're not having to run around, put our body weight through them. They can relax. Then bringing your attention to your knees, all those muscles that attach around the knee, feel it soften and relax. Unclenching your glutes, letting go of all around that pelvis area. Our tummy is nice and soft, just rising and falling with each breath. Those muscles that run up and down your spine, feeling them relaxing and melting into the floor or the roller, whatever you're laying on. Our spine can relax. Getting that gentle stretch through our shoulders as our shoulders fall back. Our arms are out and relaxed and heavy into the ground. Any tension is just running out from our fingertips, leaving the body. Letting go of any tension or stress that you might be holding through your neck and upper shoulders. Feeling it relax and drop. Softening through your jaw, your forehead and your eyebrows. Just allowing everything to relax and enjoy these last few moments of peace before you continue with your day. Lastly, I want you to try and clear out your mind any of those worrying thoughts that have been holding you back, or any stress or anxiety, pushing it to the side, putting it in a cupboard to deal with later. There's a time for that stuff, but it's not now. Right now, our attention and our focus is on allowing our body to relax so that we're in a better state of mind, a better physical condition to face those worries or anxieties. Our breath is the one thing in this world that we can control, so that's what we're focusing on right now. Slowly in and slowly out. Feeling our body respond accordingly so that we can react accordingly to our life situations. The faster you breathe, the more stressed you are. So really slowing that breathing down, getting that control, and relaxing. Taking your last few deep breaths, just enjoying this time of relaxation, feeling like you're floating on air. And when you're ready, hopping up, and we'll continue with our day. Thank you so much for joining me today, and hopefully this has helped you to relax and stretch out and minimize some of that postural tension. And I will see you next time.